The first time I saw Kerry James Marshall's paintings and Carol Walker's work was at, I think, the 97 biennial. And like, I literally sat before them and laughed for like about 45 minutes with the guards. And I was like, can you believe this shit's here? Because it was like they were talking to me, and I'd never seen that in a contemporary art context. Hi, I'm Rodney McMillian. I make work that looks at issues around class, race, policy, historical texts, and I locate a lot of that within the landscape or ideas around landscape, but also locate landscape within those ideas as well. Part of my training and background was in studying politics and studying some of those policies, and those are things that have just interested me for a long time. I'm also from South Carolina. Growing up, my parents sat me down the second I could kind of walk and talk about the politics of the land and my place in it and the possibilities for me, but also cautions and warnings as well. So it's something that has always been a part of a dialogue around me being a conscious entity in the world. And so when I became an artist and discovered that I could also engage in some of these ideas through art, it just opened up the world. I've been in Los Angeles since 2000. When I was first starting out, I had a very small studio and I could work outside. You could work outside here. And so, you know, a lot of my early works for the first 10, 15 years were made outside. So you could see impressions of leaves and bugs and things on them. And so, you know, the weather's hospitable to that. Earlier on, it was much cheaper to live here than other places. Like New York, per se, you know, food literally falls off the trees here. You can walk down a neighborhood and like, you know, grab a pomegranate or like some oranges. And it's cheaper. The food was cheaper because a lot of it's produced here. And it was also a smaller community, but it was robust. And we shared a lot, not just dialogue, but also food and resources. So I do use post-consumer objects. I'm interested in the fact that the objects that I use were once often for commerce, because that's a direct link into talking about class, talking about taste, talking about access, talking about histories of design in some cases, and use and wear and tear in the body. And a lot of that just came out of like necessity, because I didn't have very much money. And so it's being as resourceful as I could with what I had, which is why I still perhaps use house paint, because when I was starting out, you could get a gallon of Oops paint for $5 a gallon. Now it's only going up to $9. Like in 20 some odd years, that's a pretty damn good slow inflation rate if you consider that. The show Landscape in Red, that was just at Vilmeter, Los Angeles in 2023, was a painting show, my first in LA actually since grad school. There are paintings that I call landscape paintings that are on sheets and blankets. And I employ a lot of abstraction, although I call them landscape paintings because I think the concept of landscape is quite abstract. I began them in 2020 when the fires were happening. I mean, one of those days when it was just like literally fiery red, eyes blanched from all the smoke. And I was making a red painting in response to that. So they were made like all the other paintings in that they were made on the ground horizontally with lots of house paint, but also acrylic and inks and other kinds of materials. I am intrigued by that, the kind of intimacy that those blankets can suggest. You know, the blankets kind of go to warmth, they go to the body in a very direct way. There's a kind of like sense of sweetness about some of them. And then I'm also interested in if the price tags are on them too, because I'm interested in that dialogue around the commerce. You know, they were designed and sold in a primary place, and then someone bought them, used them, and then decided to give them to a second-hand place whereby they're resold again. And then I bought them. And then after I work on them, then they go into another context, which is an art context. And so that's his third iteration of being within a commercial context. And I'm interested in those contexts of commerce in thinking about the landscape, especially thinking about American landscape. I started working with vinyl because it just opened up a lot of possibilities. It is a petroleum-produced product. It's plastic. It's used for domestic furnitures, but it's also used for like clubs that have like red vinyl, like booze and things, also like diners. It also, depending upon its sheen, can be a suggestive of leather, and there's a whole lot of commutations with it. It can go to skin, it can go from the sexy to the mundane. So I guess the question that comes up about is, well, why the vinyl works are stitched. I think initially it came out of the fact that we construct things, we construct meanings. The ideas that we exist within have been constructed for us, or it's a byproduct of things that we have done or said. And so the idea of the stitching was just to point out that it's being made, and therefore things can also be unmade, even if it's through a larger institution like a government or a religious practice or something of that. It's still made by humans. There have been repairs made to work. So the White House painting, the first one that I did, I used this vinyl that I knew was shit when I got it, but it was so fucking beautiful in terms of the color and the sheen, and I really wanted it within the context of the architecture. But I knew it was shit when I bought it, I knew it was shit when I was sewing it, and it's now shit because it's unraveling. But I just said, just replace it. And so we sent them some that they could replace it. And so they'll just replace it as it goes. And it works with the work anyway, because it's a painting of the White House. Some people see the White House as an icon separated from labor, but I don't, because Black people made it. It is very much made by people, my people. And that's why the stitching is Black. And that's also why it's pieced together, because it can be unpieced. So it's like, if anything should be able to be reshifted, because it's shit, it's the fucking White House. So, conceptually, at least from my 2 cents, it's in keeping. And who knows, if they need to like tape it or, I don't know, something else to it, who cares? Do it. We're not who we think we are. The piece in Sharjah, that was done for the biennial there that NGG created. It's a space that depicts a landscape, but it's made like a traditional painting in that there are panels and they're made out of latex with inks and acrylics and things like that. The site was a corridor, so I wanted a work that you could walk through. And I love the marks that people make when they're invited into the work. Otherwise, it would be pointless to have them be in it. It's not just for spectatorship in terms of like outside looking in. And I hate works that you have to wear goddamn booties in and shit like that, like for your shoes. That's just absurd. The interesting thing about the piece in Sharjah was that it was up for 9 months. It gets incredibly hot there at times. It's also incredibly humid. There's lots of sand. And I think there was maybe a little bit of mold that happened on that work, but then we just got it treated and it was fine. I mean, it's house paint. It's a wonderful plastic. I mean, whatever is left on the object is what's left on the object. I'm not precious about that in the sense that I'm going to like try to get some conservative to save a footstep on a piece of linoleum. Like, there's already wear and tear on the linoleum, but also the design of the linoleum and is also an indicator. So I'm interested in like what the whole thing often portends to and what can be understood through whatever interventions have happened with it. When I'm making the work, I do think about the context it's in. So I do think about the different types of audiences who may encounter it. I do also know that I'm making, in many cases, work for a very specific audience. And sometimes those are individuals that I'm really speaking to, but the work I'm making is within the context of a very large story or many large histories. I don't think that I'm thinking about how the work will shift over time in terms of the meaning and the context. When I'm making the work, I'm thinking about present tense and like what I'm trying to communicate now, here and now. I'm aware that some things shift over time because now I've been around for a little bit longer. Like I'm not dead yet. I'm in my 50s now. And I've seen it happen to other artists, and perhaps it's even happened with me. I mean, I know that some of my own relationships to some things I've done shift because I got more information or different information or better information. And then I realized that, oh, this isn't working in that way, or it's not hitting in the way that I had hoped it would. But that's kind of the gift too, right? I'm grateful I get to learn from the work, even if it's lessons I don't really like.